Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Board Gamers. My name is Dave, and today we're going to continue my energy events that can be added to the upcoming hero Wonder Man. This is part 2, Justice. Wonder Man is coming in February alongside with Hercules, so that's pretty cool. Wonder Man has unique deck building, and one of the things is here on his alter ego card, which is you may include events with a printed energy resource icon from any aspect in your deck. So there are quite a few printed energy resource events, enough so that I decided to break up these videos per aspect. Another key card to his deck is this Ionic Physiology. So max 3 cards tucked here. After you play an event with a printed energy resource, tuck that event from your discard pile under this card, heal 1 damage from your identity, and then when you make a basic attack, you get +1 attack for each card tucked under Ionic Physiology. And then after you make the basic attack, you discard each card tucked under Ionic Physiology. So all these cards that I'm going to show, after they do their ability, then they're going to get tucked under Ionic Physiology, and then you can turn around and do a basic attack and get a +1 attack for each one up to having 3 stored. All right, so let's take a look at the events that can be added to his deck. So the first card is Think Fast. It costs 1. Play only if your identity has the Guardian trait. Hero action, take 1 damage, confuse the villain. Now, of course, you are not a Guardian, so you can only do this in multiplayer where the other player is playing a Guardian and they make you an honorary Guardian. If that is the case, then this card's pretty nice. It's nice and cheap and a good way to confuse the villain. But most likely you're not going to do this because it does require quite a bit of setup. But if you can pull it off, Think Fast would be a nice card. Next, we have Even the Odds. It costs 2. It's a thwart event. It does require an energy when paying for it. Hero action, thwart, remove 1 threat per player for each side scheme, deal 1 damage to the villain for each side scheme defeated this way. Now, of course, you're going to have a lot of energy in your deck, so the extra energy requirement is not a big deal. It's actually perfect for him. It's a nice way to remove some threat, and you also turn around and deal damage. Then, of course, it gets on your Ionic Physiology, which gives you another +1 attack when you do a basic attack. So Even the Odds seems like it fits perfectly for Wonder Man. Next is Foiled. Costs 0. Interrupt. When a boost card is turned face up during a scheme activation, cancel its boost icons. Now this is nice because it's cheap and it goes on during the villain phase, usually, which then you can tuck it under Ionic Physiology and then you'll be able to heal 1. And of course, now you have your +1 to attack. So Foiled is really good, I think, for Wonder Man. Next is for Justice. Of course, it's a classic. It costs 2. Thwart. Hero action, thwart. Remove 3 threat from a scheme. 4 threat instead if you pay for this card using a mental resource. Now, of course, if you are playing as Justice, then you would probably have a sense of justice in your deck, so that will generate the mental. Otherwise, you may struggle a little bit to be able to remove 4 threat instead of 3, but that's not that big of a deal if it's only 3 threat because of the other bonuses you get where you put it under Ionic Physiology, you get to heal 1, and then that gives you +1 to your basic attack. So for Justice is another nice card to put under Ionic Physiology. Next is Gunboat Diplomacy. Costs 1. It's an attack and a thwart. Alliance. Hero action, attack, thwart. Exhaust an X-Force character and an X-Men character. Remove X threat from among schemes in play and deal X damage among enemies in play, where X is the combined thwart of the 2 exhausted characters. Now, you would have to play around this. You would want to have some probably X-Force and X-Men allies to get this card to go off, but it does do quite a bit for a cost of 1. If you're playing with a lot of X-Force and X-Men allies, it may be worth it. Otherwise, more likely, this is a card that I would skip for Wonder Man. Next is Homeland Intervention. It costs 0. It's a shield tactic action. Exhaust up to 3 shield cards you control and choose a scheme. Remove 2 threat from that scheme for each card exhausted this way. So if you have a lot of shield cards, this is a great card. Otherwise, if you're not playing with a heavy shield deck, then I probably would skip this card. But the fact that it's 0 to be put under Ionic Physiology is nice, but you have to kind of build around this card a little bit as well. But if you get a lot of shield cards, this could be worth it. So that is Homeland Intervention. Next is Turn the Tide. It costs 0. It's a response attack. After your hero thwarts and removes all threat from a scheme, deal 3 damage to an enemy. Now, unless you're playing Justice, I'm not so sure I would put this card in because you only have a thwart of 2. So you would have to have some other good thwarting cards to be able to clear side schemes and plus coordinate with your Justice player. So, but the fact that it's 0 is nice. So if you can trigger it, it's great to put under Ionic Physiology. Then you can heal the damage and get the +1 attack. But the fact that you actually have to remove all the threat from a scheme might restrict the use of this card. So I probably would not include it unless I'm adding a lot of thwart events. Next is Yaw and Roll. It's a 1-cost event. Play only if your identity has the aerial trait, which you do, so that's great. Hero response thwart. After your hero thwarts, remove 3 threat from a scheme. So this is another good, cheap card for Ionic Physiology. It's great for thwarting event, removes a threat. Now again, you only have a 2 thwart, but after you can do a basic thwart, and then you play this, you remove 3 threat from a scheme, you would be able to heal 1, tuck it under, because you're tucking it under Ionic Physiology, then you'd have a +1 for a basic attack, but you couldn't do this turn if you had done a basic thwart. But hey, it's still a nice cheap card, and it removes a lot of threat. Next, we have a couple of cards that you cannot play. We have Breaking and Entering. You have to be a spy or a thief. You are not either. And Psychic Manipulation. Play only if your identity has a psionic trait, which of course you don't. So obviously you cannot play these cards, but I'm including them just for if you do a search, these would pop up. Okay, now looking at the 4 aspects, Justice had the fewest energy events of all of them. And there's also a couple of pool events that I wanted to go over. So I am adding them to this list because I don't want to make a separate video for just 2 cards. So let's take a look at the pool cards. So first, we've got I Got This. It costs 1. Hero action. If the following icons are in 1 or more cards in play: Crisis, deal 3 damage to an enemy. Acceleration, remove 2 threat from a scheme. Amplify, ready an ally you control. And Hazard, draw a card. So this is a nice cheap card. You can have some fun with the bad symbols that are on like side schemes and stuff. So this could be a pretty fun card to add as a little unique pool twist when you're not playing the pool aspect. And then of course it gets tucked under Ionic Physiology, which will heal you 1, and then +1 to your attack. So first pool card we have is I Got This. And finally we have Break Time. It costs 3. It's an alliance card, max 1 per deck. Alter ego action. Take a group break, leave the table, read a comic book. When you come back to the game, heal 1 damage from each identity for every minute you are away from the game. Now, this is nice if everybody is taking damage and they're also willing to help pay for it. And if you're doing multiplayer, otherwise, I don't know if this card's worth it. The metagame is kind of fun where you could just leave the table for a few minutes, have a coffee break or whatever. But I'm not sure I would actually include it just because of the costs involved. There's a lot of cheaper options to put under Ionic Physiology, but hey, this is a valid choice. So there you go. Okay, so that was my look at justice and pool energy events that you could add to Wonderman. Hope you enjoyed that. Next, we will be moving on to leadership. So watch for that. Thank you for watching, everyone. Please like, subscribe, and click the notification bell. Thank you.